Hi guys, how are you? Today is another episode of the Help X podcast. This is where real stories meet real experts. And as always, your host, I'm Brandon Karvani. My special guest today is kindly introduce yourself.
I'm Dr. Hadima.
Okay. So anyway, this is the month of July, and the theme for July is self-care. And so today, I want us to talk about burnout. So, what are some of the physical signs? Like, how do I know if I'm burnt out? Sometimes I could just be tired. Labda mfuko haijafanya kweli. But yeah, so how do I know? How do I know I'm burnt out and not tired?
Okay. So, burnout is a phenomenon that is associated with occupation for the most part. But other psychologists will also say anything that you need to do daily for a long period of time that can stress you out can also cause burnout. Example is taking care of a loved one, being a parent, common examples. So, you will know you're burnt out based on the symptoms that you're experiencing. The most common symptom would be fatigue, constant fatigue, despite feeling that you've slept well, you still wake up, you're not feeling 100%, you're feeling tired all the time. That would be the most common symptom. You'll also feel, that will be physical fatigue, but you'll also feel on a mental or emotional aspect, you're still feeling tired, you're not yourself, you're not able to work as well as you were working previously. Apart from that, you'll feel like you don't really want to put effort towards work. There'll be some negativity you'll feel towards work. You tend to feel some resentment towards coworkers. Maybe you might feel your workload is too much compared to others. There'll be some cynicism involved.
You said it has to be like mostly workplace related, yeah?
Yeah.
So unajua siku hizi kuna lazima nijitume. So where should I draw the line? Like in as much as nataka kujituma nifanye everything related. So how can I balance like still working hard and taking care of myself?
Okay. So kujituma ni lazima ndio tukule. But yes, there you have to draw a line. If you're experiencing these symptoms, that's when you know change has to take place. So basically, it's about work-life balance. You have to know when work stops and when relaxation stroke rest starts. So you need to block your time in such a way that you know maybe from 8 to 5, for example, I'm working. Then from 5 onwards, it's me time. So you can block time for family and time to sleep.
Speaking of sleep, yeah, is it normal to wake up more tired than? Is it normal to wake up tired, feeling tired?
No, it's not normal to wake up feeling tired. You can have an off day where you just wake up and you're feeling tired, but the next day you're okay. So, but if you're waking up feeling tired, sustained over a long period of time, that's not normal. It could show that the quality of your sleep is not good. Yes. So either you're not sleeping at all for one reason or another, you're stressed or something, or you're not having continuous sleep. So maybe you keep waking up in the middle of the night and your sleep is interrupted.
This is like you've talked about the quality of sleep, yeah. So how do I know like I'm getting quality sleep? Is it the hours or is it because there's a thing called the circadian rhythm? Yeah. So how that's like
How you feel in the morning. If you feel rested, rejuvenated, energized, ready to work, you know your sleep quality is good. If you wake up and you're constantly feeling like I need to snooze 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes, then probably the quality of your sleep is not.
can burnout make you feel like you're depressed, lazy, or tired, just generally?
Yes, it can. Uh, Burnout in itself is not really categorized as depression, but it's a non-risk factor for depression. So with depression, you will feel a sustained feeling of low mood, feeling sad, feeling like a lack of motivation to live. With burnout, your negative symptoms will be mostly involved with work. So you'll feel as if you don't really want to go into work, you're feeling negative towards work. But if it's your time, your free time, you don't feel that same lack of motivation. That's how you know the difference between burnout and depression.
And what period of time is this? Like how soon should I, if like I have an inkling or a feeling that I'm burning out, how soon should I start putting the work to?
As soon as yesterday, as soon as you realize, yes, because there's no defined timeline I've had burnout for this time, I'm now at risk of depression. For as long as you're having burnout, you need to do something about it so that it's not something that's sustained. Because burnout in itself is not sustainable. At some point, something will go off, something has to give. So you have to be able to recognize the symptoms and take care of them so that you don't get into anxiety or depression, which are now actual mental conditions that might require treatment.
What other effects can it have? Can it affect like my appetite and, well, sex life?
Yes, it can. Yes, because burnout is a state whereby there is unmanaged stress for a long period of time. The stresses themselves could affect other aspects of your life. It could affect relationships with your coworkers or even with your family members. You can imagine if you're feeling resentment or negativity at work, you'll be irritable. You'll keep, not talking nicely to your colleagues or shouting at them, for example. If you're feeling fatigued and it's reached a certain point where you're fatigued all the time, even outside of work, then it could affect your sex life, for example. Sex is a physical activity. So if you are not feeling or up to it, then it will definitely affect your sex life.
Right now, of course, we're Kenyan. We're going through so much. There's politics, like everything is happening in the country. There's, of course, like studying to have to work. Like just the struggle is constant.
Right.
Yeah, all that. So do you think because of those circumstances, are we more prone to being burned out?
Yes, just because of the stresses of life themselves, as you're saying it, there is that predisposition to people getting burnt out, though we might not necessarily know that this is happening. You could just be, this is another kawaida day in my life. I usually wake up feeling fatigued, but I don't have an option. I have to go to work. So someone might not really recognize they're just pushing themselves so that they can put bread on the table, but they could in fact be burnt out.
How important is rest? Because like leave days, of course, everyone is guaranteed leave days, but how important is rest for the human body?
Rest is extremely important. A lot of processes take place when you're resting, including formation of memory, including rejuvenation of your immune system, rejuvenation of your muscles, and whatnot. So sleep is important. It's essential to life, basically. So we cannot do without rest periods or we cannot do without sleep. And therefore, I would urge Kenyans and humanity in general, um, prioritize sleep. Sleep is important. Don't constantly sleep for less hours than you need because you're trying to hustle and you're trying to uh, put bread on the table, because ultimately it will affect your health. And if you're not healthy, you're not able to work as productively.
Is it normal not to get dreams? Like, would that be a sign of like not adequate sleep or lack of quality of sleep?
Not necessarily. There is a portion of the population that does not remember their dreams. So if you don't remember dreaming, you will naturally say no if someone asks you whether you dream or not. The answer will be no. So it's possible that you're dreaming, yes, but you're not remembering the dreams. So it's not a sign of burnout. It's just part of normal physiology. Some people have very vivid dreams and they remember them. Most people do.
When people mostly talk to you, like especially like in a clinic, like here, what when they tell you about exhaustion, what like symptoms are they describing?
Okay. So we do get a number of calls and where the major complaint would be, I feel tired all the time. So we have to probe further because tiredness is not necessarily just burnout. It could be a symptom of a medical condition. For example, if someone is anemic, they'll report they are always tired. They can't walk as far as they used to be able to work. To walk, for example, they can't do their normal chores in the house. They'll have other symptoms. So we usually take what we call a history. We ask about the symptom and all the associated symptoms, what the patient is feeling. If necessary, we send for lab tests just to confirm the diagnosis. If this patient is saying no to all the other follow-up questions and it's just fatigue only, then I will probe their quality of sleep just to see. A lot of Kenyans, for some reason, I didn't know this, but until I started working here, a lot of people don't get much sleep and they don't even realize they're not getting much sleep. When you probe further into it, we'll realize that technology is a big factor. Looking at the screen just a few minutes before bedtime can affect the quality of your sleep. So then I'm able to give advice on sleep hygiene, things that I recommend for people to do so that they ensure that their sleep is of quality sleep.
What else? What are some of the other things I can do to promote my sleep hygiene?
So there's the phone, there's the laptop, there's even the TV. So all this, anything that emits blue light tricks your body into thinking it's daylight. So your production of melatonin is somewhat decreased or suppressed, and you'll find that you're finding it difficult to fall asleep, or if you do fall asleep, you find it difficult to stay asleep. So I recommend no screens before 1 hour before bedtime, at least 1 hour before bedtime. You could take up a hobby. You could decide to read a physical book. You could decide to clean if you like cleaning. I don't know who likes cleaning at night, but if you like cleaning, go for it. Some people prefer to have night showers. That would be a good time to do it. Meditation, anything really that does not involve the screen, but for you, you think it's something that helps you relax, you can do it at least 1 hour before bedtime. I also recommend no caffeine in the afternoon and in the evening, because this is another culprit people don't know about. Kenyans like tea. Tunapenda chai kama wa Kenya, but tea contains caffeine, and that might affect your quality of sleep. You might think, oh, I'm taking it at 2 p.m., 4 p.m., but it remains in the body for many hours after being ingested, and it can affect your quality of sleep as well. So if you need to take caffeine, I say limit it to the morning hours. Another thing I'd say is don't eat and go to sleep immediately. Give your body some time to digest the food so that your stomach is not so full. It might be uncomfortable for you to sleep with a very full stomach. So just give it 2-3 hours, have early supper. It's beneficial for you to have early supper, early light supper, give it some time, then go to sleep. Those are some of the things that I tell the patients who complain about poor sleep.
How much coffee is too much coffee? Like, I know you spoke about tea, but like during the morning hours, is there a packs? Like, should I, if I'm taking like 2 or 3 cups of coffee, like, is that going to affect how I'm going to sleep if it's during the morning?
I'd say limit it to not more than 2 mugs. Mugs are of different sizes, so I'd put it at not more than 250 mils. I could have a mug which is 1 liter for some reason. Yeah, so don't take 2 liters of tea because your mug is 1 liter. Daktari alisema 2 mugs, or just limit it to not more than 250 mils. So that would be 250 times 2, 500 mils for your morning, for you to have optimal sleep. And caffeine also, for some other people, predisposes them to other conditions. So we also put a limit at that for them to be comfortable.
How important is like water to this whole burnout process? Like, could sometimes, because it's sometimes like I'd have like small headaches, but nikikunywa maji, kusha, it's gone. Yeah.
So water, again, is essential to life, just like sleep. So water is important regardless of your state of being, whether you're burnt out or you're not burnt out. It's important because all physiological processes take place in water. So it's important for someone to be well hydrated for them to function properly. If you're not well hydrated, you might be mildly dehydrated, so we are not necessarily able to pick it up, but you might be prone to fatigue easily and headaches. Yeah, so for these people who always complain, I'm feeling tired, after we've probed everything else, I would recommend as well taking at least 2 to 3 liters of water in a day, just to keep yourself hydrated, because when you're hydrated, your physiological processes are okay, and you remain focused, you remain sharp, and you're able to work well.
And 2 to 3 liters is like how many glasses of water? Like a kind of glass.
Liters? I mean 8 glasses, sorry, not 8 liters. 8 liters would be too much. Yes. They say 8 glasses, but glasses are also of varied sizes. So I'd say if someone is able to measure, because nowadays we have bottles that have measurements on them, or you can get a bottle whose measurements you know. So mostly people walk around with a 500 ml bottle. So take 4 of those. that would be 2 liters. And spread it throughout the day. Don't take it predominantly at one time. If you take it, for example, if you take most of your water in the evening, for example, you'll end up having to wake up multiple times at night, and that will affect your sleep again. Yeah, so spread the water intake throughout.
What's the concerning factor between burnout and things like high blood pressure?
So there is an indirect relationship. If you are burnt out due to a stressor, in this case, it would be your workplace stressors, for a long period of time, it could prompt your body to have high levels of stress hormones like adrenaline or cortisol, and this would directly raise your BP. Um, Usually, there is, if you're undergoing a stressful reaction, for example, if you need to run away from a dangerous situation, your adrenaline will go up, your cortisol will go up. This is physiological because then it will give you the necessary strength to run away. Your body will produce more glucose, you will stop digesting, your pupils will become dilated so that you see well and you see further. So you're able to plan an escape or plan how to fight. Basically, fight or flight response. But if you're having a fight and flight flight response on a daily basis, when you're not in any imminent danger, your BP is up for no reason. Yeah, so your BP could go up because of having stressors that are not well managed.
Does anxiety have an impact on that? Because my assumption is that if you're more anxious, if you're a more anxious person, then you're always on.
Jittery, yes, on age and your BP, yes. It could directly affect the BP of a patient undergoing an anxiety attack at that time. It can go high just because of the increase in the levels of these hormones in the body. Yes. So we don't expect it to be sustained. But if you have anxiety for months, years on end, then your BP may just go up and you can get hypertension. It will not be the only factor though. It's multifactorial. So you won't get someone getting hypertension just from anxiety alone. It's a contributing factor, not a sole factor.
What's a doctor's perspective on depression and anxiety? This generally.
These are mental conditions, these are known diagnoses that the WHO classified as mental conditions, and they need treatment. So if someone feels that they or a loved one is exhibiting symptoms like they are always on edge, always anxious, their mood is low, they are not eating well, for example, then it will be good for them to speak to a doctor so that their symptoms can be assessed. And if indeed these are mental conditions that they're going through, either depression or anxiety, help is available to them. They can either be given talk therapy or in extreme cases, medications can be used to treat them.
So I want to ask you now a personal question, yeah? So as a doctor, a parent, how do you deal with burnout, being a professional and still at home? How do you juggle both?
As I said earlier, you have to learn how to manage your time. It's not easy being a professional and a parent and doing these things at the same time. So you have to plan your time very well. So I have my time when I'm at work. That has been planned out for me. I have to be here on the days I'm on shift. Then on the days I'm not on shift, then I plan my time in such a way that I have time to I'm a mom at home, I'm a wife, so I have to clean the house, I have to plan the cooking and whatnot. I have time for that. Better still, most days I delegate these tasks. Be in a position to delegate these tasks, even better, so that you're not doing everything alone. And then I have time for family. So I have time which I spend with my husband, I spend with my son, I could plan time with my parents, with my siblings. Then again, I also have time that's me time, just to relax. So sometimes I read, sometimes I go and take a long shower. Sometimes I watch a movie. Yes, basically. So this time blocking helps you basically be able to juggle between professional life and personal life.
What made you want to be a doctor?
That's interesting. I don't know if it has one answer, but basically I love helping people. That is my way of giving back to the community, and at the same time, I'm good at sciences. So if you marry these two together, the doctor profession came up. Yes. I was also influenced by TV.
TV?
Yes. There are these shows that we used to watch. There's one called Casualty back in the day when I was a child. There's another one called Gideon's Crossing. There are several of them that I loved watching. I liked what I saw. It was fiction, yes, but people were getting help, that they needed professional help, and I was like, I think I can do that. So yes, basically I grew up with that passion of helping people.
What would you say is like, I want to ask both, like a highlight, a peak highlights when that you usually say, like, when those days when you burnt out, you're like, I do this because of this and this and this, and a low. So we'll go high and then low. So a high and a low about being a doctor.
The high will definitely be when you've treated a patient, especially a patient who's so sick. Sometimes you have to admit patients to ICU because they're that sick. You treat them. People are not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but this patient walks out. They actually get well and they walk out. That is always definitely a high for anyone in the medical profession, and definitely for me. And sometimes it's not even just the big things, even the small things. Sometimes a patient could come in and they have these symptoms that have been nagging them, but not necessarily life threatening, but you're able to assist. Sometimes this patient is not even having necessarily a medical condition, but because of the stresses in their life, their condition presents physically. But you have to assess this and you have to rule them out. Once you've ruled them out and you're like, okay, so I think you might benefit from talking to someone, a therapy, a loved one, a therapist or a loved one. Once that patient has this realization that, oh, baby, I'm not sick, but help is available, this patient goes away feeling better. That's also a win for me because health is not just physical health. Health is absence of disease, yes, but also your mental and your spiritual well-being as well. A low for me would be when you lose patience. It's never easy to lose patience. And indeed, each time we lose a patient, we have to debrief for that reason because we are also human and we also feel these emotions, these negative emotions that come about with losing patients. Another low will be just when you're too tired. Sometimes when you're too tired, you're not able to function well. Actually, you take a break, and this is provided for every medical professional. There are the off days, there are the leave days. You utilize them well. If you're on shift, for example, and I've never been really that tired because I plan my time. But if for one reason or another you feel you're not able to go on with that shift, either you're too tired or something happened and you're emotionally strained, then you need to ask for help because the patient always comes first. So if you feel you cannot help that patient because of a condition you're in, call in for backup. It's a law, but you have to take care of the patient. Yeah, so you call in for backup, the patient is sorted, then you sort yourself out with a doctor.
Well, right now you're here at HealthX, and HealthX mostly does telemedicine. So you're not actually accessing the patient
Yes.
physically. Does that change what impact does that have? Or has it had?
Well, for me, I see it as a plus. Yes, I'm not able to see the patient. It might be a disadvantage in some cases. There's some cases where you feel this patient actually needs a physical assessment. You can't safely see them and treat them, so you refer them to a physical facility. But for the patients who you're safely able to treat them, you assess and you're safely able to treat them. For me, it's a plus because this patient is then able to access care that they might not have otherwise accessed, either due to time constraints or due to financial constraints or whatever other reason the patient may have. At the same time, we are also able to manage the patients with the chronic illnesses. So people who have diabetes, people who have asthma, hypertension, we're usually able to follow them up. For them, it saves time because they don't have to travel to a physical facility. We just give them a call on the day that we scheduled for their follow-up. We see how they're doing. If they're doing well, then we refill their medications if need be, life continues. If we assess and we feel, oh, by the way, this symptom, we need to have it checked. But you see, if they don't need to go to hospital every month. So for me, it's a plus being able to access patients who are not physically there. We can access patients as far as Lodwar, Lokichobio, they call in. These patients might not necessarily have had the access to a doctor otherwise because they're in remote locations, but because they're able to give us a call and we are able to help them. For me, this is always a plus. And it's good that patients are able to receive care.
Telemedicine is relatively new, yeah. So as before here, did you work at an actual clinic? And what's been the experience between that and now what you're doing over here?
Yes, before this, I worked at a physical hospital. Well, the experience is definitely different because when you're seeing the patient there, you're able to assess You can see them physically. You can do a physical examination. There's body language that which you're seeing. There's some things that the patient might not say, but because of their body language, then you're prompted to ask. And that also helps in managing them as well. Here it's different because you're not really able to see them unless it's a video call. Then again, even if it's a video call, all you can do is see them. You cannot examine them. So you have to assess and see whether it is safe to treat this patient in this platform or not.
What small changes can I make, like, to minimize my burnout without necessarily like going to hospital, without touching my pockets?
You don't want to break the bank. You don't want to rob a bank. Okay. Yes. So it's again the same things. Prioritize self-care. Self-care does not have to be expensive. You don't have to go out there and get expensive things. So basically, time blocking or planning your time. I always say planning to fail or failing to plan is planning to fail, basically. So the first thing is to plan your time so that you have me time, you have work time, you have time for your hobbies, everything else. Then it's the small things really that constitute self-care. If you're a religious person, for example, put time aside for prayer and meditation. Don't neglect your hobbies because you're working so hard and you want to provide for your family. Your hobbies are also important for your mental well-being. So put aside time for your hobbies. Prioritize spending time with your loved one, be it friends and family, because there is benefit physiologically and mentally in being together with your loved ones. You won't find it written in any book, but your mental state really influences your physical well-being. So yes, being in the presence of loved ones puts you in a state of ease, and that will also help you to be able to put you in a position where you'll be able to face the daily stresses and challenges of life so that you're eventually not going into burnout, going into anxiety and depression.
Thank you so much. That was a doctor's perspective on burnout. So, like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you want to hear next, and take care of yourself this self care July.